first elements are describing what the digital platform is and how Cloud Pak for Automation implements the digital business platform. There are a certain number of things that you'll see about helping or easing the use of this environment, notably with digital workers. So how digital workers can help human actors within workflows, within processes, case management, etc. When you have digital workers, is there a way to manage and control a hybrid workforce? Does IBM propose tools for simple workflows? What is the IBM offering for document and data capture? How integrated are the tools available in CP for automation? Is CP for automation easy to install? Where can I run CP for automation if I want to do some tests? And can I practice a Cloud Pak for automation environment? I can already answer the last one. We are going to do some labs based upon images of Cloud Pak for automation and do some exercises on a real Cloud Pak for automation environment. So it will be a very interesting day where you will hear about the environment, you hear about the software, but as well practice it and see and touch it on your keyboards. The agenda for today is the welcome and introduction we are going to go through now. Then I will present a global overview of Cloud Pak for automation, followed by the digital automation platform. So the digital business automation platform is the concept, the features, the services that you can expect from this environment. It is distributed, or it goes to the go-to-market are there are different go-to-market strategies. One of them is Cloud Pak for automation, but it's good to know as well the other way you can use it. A short break at 10:30, and then we'll start the first lab with an account opening workflow based upon the capabilities of Cloud Pak for automation. Lunch break. Then we'll start the afternoon by requesting the environment for a lab that will occur at the end of the afternoon. It takes some time for the environment to be made available. So we'll start this request at the beginning of the afternoon. I will give you a short overview of the digital worker environment and will practice the digital worker environment in lab number 2. Lab number 3 and the Business Automation Studio and Application Designer will rely on the environment we will have requested just after lunch. So it's about being low-code business automation apps. So the idea of helping the automation and deploying the automation more widely by lowering the barrier to entry to the kinds of applications. It will be time around 4:30 to ask your last question and answer, and for me to give answers, as well as so and Michael, do the evaluation and plan for eventual next steps. The prerequisites for today, well, it's an IBM Cloud account. We'll not use exactly the services, but it's always very beneficial to have the IBM Cloud account. And the presentations and resources will be available from the ibm.box.com/v/cp for auto May 15. So I will put that information, that link, into the chat so that you can use it easily and that you can refer to it without any problem. Just a short reminder of what the Cloud Paks are. So the Cloud Paks are a way for IBM to present and to distribute software on a common basis for all clouds. So the idea is that in the years 2000, when people were trying to build an application, they were thinking of what kind of application I will build, and will use Java because Java is so commonplace that can run on whatever hardware. Before that, it was, I'm going to build an application for IBM, or I'm going to build an application for HP or for Sun. Now, starting in 2000, the idea was there was some kind of portability that was given by the Java environment. Today, there is no doubt that the platform for applications is the cloud. And today, so the idea is to build a platform that will allow you to use any cloud that is available, whether it is the IBM Cloud or other providers or even on-prem systems, so that your applications are independent, or at least not very dependent from the provider of the infrastructure you are using. That's the basic idea about Cloud Paks. And the tool that we use for that is Red Hat OpenShift. So all the Cloud Paks are built upon Red Hat OpenShift, and with some additions to operational services like logging, monitoring, security, etc. So Red Hat OpenShift plus those operational services give you an environment, a Kubernetes environment that is built for the enterprises. There are other Kubernetes environments, but this one is specifically targeting enterprises. And on top of that, of course, you've got Cloud Paks. So that's middleware that can be used on any cloud, on any environment, with IBM certified software. And you can get today a certain number of Cloud Paks, so among which the Cloud Pak for automation. So if I just have a short review of the Cloud Paks that are available, there is the Cloud Pak for applications, where you run your applications with WebSphere or with Nginx or whatever environment you want to use for running your applications or for migrating existing on-prem applications to the cloud. The Cloud Pak for data is the place where you find the databases, as well as the artificial intelligence offering from IBM, from Cognos to Watson services. Cloud Pak for integration is the place where you will find all the messaging software, all the API software, so like Kafka, MQ series, etc., or API Connect, etc. Cloud Pak for automation, the tool of today, it will be about content, workflow, case management, decision management. So something that is very, very important in most of companies today. Cloud Pak for multi-cloud will be geared towards managing all those applications that are eventually dispersed on many clouds. So having a central point of control and the ability to understand how all these applications are running over the multiple providers. And Cloud Pak for security will allow you to gather the security elements and to enforce the security policies that you need for all of those environments. Before we go to the presentation, if you want to access those capabilities, you are already maybe partners, so you are familiar with the partner world and the value-add package of the partner world that allows you to download any software from IBM or use credits, and then you can contact Atso and Mikhail to eventually get credits to be able to use more thoroughly the IBM portfolio and to assess its value towards your business. So Cloud Pak for automation, as we saw, is part of this global picture of software enabled for the cloud. And it has a specific target. The target of Cloud Pak for automation, the design point is intelligent automation to transform business operations. So what we mean by intelligent automation is summarized by the IBM Institute for Business Value. Intelligent automation is transforming the way humans interact with and benefit from technology and the way businesses operate. The idea about that is that we know that everything is going to be digitized, or most of the things are going or are already digitized, but it's not because things are digitized that they're efficient, and there are things that can be improved even in that digitized world. And that's the objective, I would say, of this environment. Because even if people are striving for intelligent automation, only 12% of organizations have deployed intelligent automation technology. So it means that there are some non-intelligent automation technology, which, for example, even if it's very useful, robotic process automation, where you screen scrap applications, information from one application to another, cannot be said to be really intelligent. So it's useful, it's automation, but we don't put that into the category of intelligent automation. Why? So the design point is to understand why only a small part of the environment has been put into leverage those technologies. And the issue is that these technologies may require up to now, or they were requiring up to now, a certain skill, certain number of skill, and those skills were not readily available. So one of the design points of Cloud Pak for Automation, the digital business automation platform, is to make programming more easy, to make people or business people less shy towards this environment, and to allow them to have what we will see and we call low code or no code environment, so that they can by themselves do the automation they need and do not only rely on big projects that would be led by IT. So the idea is to enable people, more people, to automate their activities by themselves so that they can spend more time on other on more efficient or more difficult tasks. So the skills gaps about data science, machine learning, and AI cognitive talents. It's the gap about AI. It's the lack about the gap about data and model quality. So to build AI, you need data, and to build data and quality, it's very difficult for people who are not accustomed to. And of course, the transparency and governance is always an issue when you tend to modernize and to automate things. You need to be sure that you are doing it in the right way. So IBM is helping companies. It has helped companies to digitize work. So of course, some companies may eventually still need to start digitizing their work, but most companies are starting somewhere to digitize their works. And this encompasses business rules. So applications that can rely on business rules that are automated, content, workflows, and all those elements are increasing operational efficiency. The following step is intelligent automation, so what we mentioned previously. So applying AI on this digitized environment. So data from operations is used for machine learning and AI to reduce the amount of work people need to do. And the next step, the very next step, so the one we are focusing on now, is hyper-automation, and it's creating a kind of partnership between automats or robots with human in order to optimize the hybrid workforce. So the digital workers, so meaning some capabilities to automate work, are deployed to collaborate with humans whenever a greater level of productivity can be achieved. So the global plan for that is to provide a way to modernize business operations, to modernize not only internal business operations, but as well the business operations that tackle with that are the contact point with customers. So today we are simple automation, so to reduce errors, to perform transactional work. And tomorrow we can think of hyper automation to drive scale, speed, and complex work. So it means, for example, that in terms of doing some kind of process, instead of just doing the same process, but in a digital way, you can think of speeding it very much in order to provide an answer to the customer that is much more efficient and much more rapid, quick. The focus of automation today is often on productivity and cost saving, which is a good focus, but it's in some way limited. The new focus for tomorrow could be to leverage those capabilities to develop new and better customer experience. So, for example, the response time between someone asking for a loan and the answer from a bank being shortened dramatically. So to drive growth with new business models. And one of the other elements that is lacking today is the lack of orchestration. So the products exist, and even at the beginning of the IBM story, it was the case. So the products exist, but they are not connecting together. So there's some kind of lack of integration between the products. And another effort, another design point, is to create an automation ecosystem, so an integrated automation platform, so that the products in this environment that we mentioned, case management, workflows, business insights, etc., are more closely knit together, to provide a better result, a better ecosystem. So for customers and for partners, the idea is that at the same time they can benefit or they can leverage this environment, this Cloud Pak for Automation or digital business automation platform, to reduce cost, improve efficiency of their automated systems, make their employee more efficient, extract information from unstructured data, but as well they can improve the top line. They can deliver better and more personalized and more relevant products and services, find new opportunities for revenue growth and new business models. So the idea is that you can do both. And of course, the first part, the part on the left, has been very much very well known. The other part is something that is going to be enhanced by these Cloud Pak for Automation capabilities, in a way that what we want to bring is that what is to reducing cost was based upon lots of activities from IT, and improving top lines will more or less will will above all, sorry, result from the efforts of the business line people. So the people who are really facing the customers will understand what they can automate, what they cannot automate, and they will provide new business models and new capabilities to really improve the reactivity and the speed of business within their companies. If we think that we of all the work that can be mostly administrative work that can be done within a company, we think that we see that there are repetitive work, administrative work, departmental work, expert work, cross-enterprise work, and there are use cases for each of them. So the repetitive work is a clerical work, copy-paste between systems, so it's really repetitive. So that will be in the domain of reducing costs, so reducing simple and repetitive tasks. Some administrative work that is not so automated today is compliance documentation, so gathering the documentation that is needed. So again, it will reduce cost if we can do it more easily and more quickly. Departmental work, so expense tracking and approval. And again, if it can be made simpler, it can help to reduce cost. But then you've got what we are willing to focus more, reinvent the customer experience. So is the customer onboarding, so which is a cross activity, as well as personalized consultation with time that is freed by the other work being automated. So the three elements of intelligent automation that we are going to present and use within the Cloud Pak for Automations are automation services to digitize core operations to automate at scale. That will be workflow, that will be case management, that will be data capture. Business applications build apps for employees to perform effectively. So if you think of applications to really enhance the way business users understand what the steps they have to do and the steps they need to follow in order to do a certain procedure within the company. And the new thing is called digital workers, and another new thing, digital workers. So it will be the ability to embed automated steps within a global process that is used by humans. So free humans for higher value works. So if something can be automated within a chain of activities, chain of actions that is undertaken by humans, it could be eventually done by digital workers. And we have a lab about that to show what it means in practice. When you think of those categories, so automation services, business applications, digital workers, so the three categories I've used before, when you automate your workflows, it will benefit the three pillars in different ways and with different tools or different subset of the Cloud Pak for Automation environment. So if for automation services with the assistance of the business automation workflow, so it's case management and business process management, you will build, automate, and manage processes and cases to digitize workflows. For business applications, so the kind of applications onboarding, travel request, procurement approval. It will enable business users to rapidly build workflow apps with no-code tools. So it's not about creating a null company-wide tool that needs to exist, but if you need to create something rapidly, kind of, for example, in this COVID-19 environment, an application for distributing computers and validating that everybody has a computer and there's a process to get the right equipment to work from home. That is a business application that can be used very quickly. It can be made very quickly in order to answer to a very specific and very urgent need. And for the digital workers, the roles, they are very prone to automation. Here, account receivable clerk, sales manager, customer support specialist, to insert digital workers into the workforce, to initiate workflows, to retrieve work from work queues and automate human work. For example, if there is the need to retrieve some mails or need to send some mails, this can be sometimes an operation that can be automated, freeing the operator to do that by himself. So we had previously the workflow. We have as well the decision management that can improve the platform. So decision management is embedded within Cloud Pak for automation as well. So for automation, it will help to model decisions with no-code IBM Decision Composer. So the IBM Decision Composer is following product to G rules. So the ability to create an environment where you specify the rules, for example, for approval of a loan, for approval of a claim or whatever. And you can easily, because you have separated the program from the rules, modify the rules without have to rewrite the program. Business applications will benefit from decision management as well. So service promotion, procurement approval. So if you have things that can change within the evaluation and the decision that you have to take, you can use this environment to take the right decisions and embed that into your applications. Same thing for the digital workers. The digital workers will be able to leverage as well the decision management, the automated decision management capabilities that have been embedded into your system. The third element that is very valuable in the digital platform, digital business platform, the Cloud Pak for automation, is content services. So we are talking about automating processes. We are talking about automating loan applications, etc. So of course you need to store and to leverage documents, to leverage information, and this is done in this environment by the content services with FileNet Content Manager in order to store the information, and IBM DataCap to capture the information. So when you receive PDFs in an email, when you receive documents that are OCR'd, when you receive whatever letter, whatever element that you need to embed into your systems, you can capture them. That's IBM DataCap, and you can store them. It's the IBM FileNet Content Manager, and of course, retrieve them when you need. So that's for the automation services. So the example of content and captured applications that can be meaningful for the business, document renewal, updating customer service field applications. So you have a certain number of elements where, based upon the content services, you can build a very interesting and very efficient business applications. For digital workers, they will leverage the content services as well by being able to classify automatically some documents, or on the other side, extract documents from the content management environment. So as I said about the Cloud Pak environment, so the Cloud Pak environment is built to, let's say, run anywhere. So you see the infrastructure layer at the very bottom is about running anywhere in terms of any cloud supported, any cloud that can run the Red Hat OpenShift platform. On top of that, we have the Cloud Pak and the various capabilities that were mentioned in the introduction. So one of them being the Cloud Pak for automation. The additional technologies are like blockchain, IoT, quantum, supply chain, Watson weather, are applications that are leveraging this environment. So Watson, for example, from Cloud Pak for data, supply chain from Sterling, quantum. So all the capabilities that the IBM portfolio can bring. And above that is the expertise from you, from the ISV developers and the solutions, in order to, with some assistance in terms of services, define the right strategy, migration path, development, etc. As a summary of the environment, we have talked about the various elements that are available within Cloud Pak for automation. So we have talked about the digital workers, the tasks. We have talked about workflow capabilities and case management capabilities. We have talked about the decisions that can be taken with operation decision management. We have talked about content with the finite environment. We have talked about capture with data capture, IBM data cap. So these are the capabilities, and those capabilities are blended into three main capabilities: the automation services, the digital workers, and the application. And this on top is enabled or is presented to the client and partner application with a unified user experience. So we had previously, say, separated portfolio, and one of the big efforts, one of the big design points of this new environment is to provide a unified user experience in terms of development and to enable the usage of all those capabilities very easily and with a consistent user interface. So the idea is not to have pinpoint products, but a really integrated environment that you can leverage from the input of the data, the capture of the data, to its analysis. Okay. Are there some questions at this point up to now?
Let me check the chat room once again. Yes, there is a question, which is, which version of the OpenShift does the Cloud Pak for the automation support?
So currently it supports one of the latest versions of Red Hat OpenShift 4.3. So it comes with a regular update of this environment. So the strategy of IBM is not to get the latest Red Hat OpenShift just when it goes out of the gates of Red Hat, but to start to be, let's say, current at one quarter after 1 quarter of additional testing. So currently, the latest version of the Cloud Pak for automation, which is 2021, is supporting already 4.3. Okay, so with the Cloud Pak for, and the good point is that the Cloud Pak for the Red Hat OpenShift is delivered with the Cloud Pak for automation, so you don't need to look for additional or separate ordering. You get when you buy when you install this environment, you get everything you need to make it run without any problem. So the idea is that Cloud Pak for automation will the applications that this environment will allow have been already tackled in the past, of course, but the idea is to make these applications even more easy to develop. So frictionless loan origination, and we do that in the first lab. So approvals in minutes or hours instead of days. With analytics and machine learning to improve customer experience. So instead of having to put everybody through the same process, lengthy process, find a way to define a profile of users or of applicants that can get their loan without additional review from an expert, and only review the applications that can eventually show some problems based on previous profiling. Same kind of automation with automated claims processing. So the idea of answering more quickly to insured people when they make a claim, eventually combining their claims with the analysis of pictures. So here it's the analysis of a roof after a very strong gale, and being able to provide visibility to the status of the claim in order to reinsure and to give a good experience to the people who have been suffering some kind of difficulties. On the one hand, making rapid payments, but on the other hand, using machine learning and AI to track and identify potential fraud and abuse. So in order to limit the negative effects that a too easy process could have. So if it's so easy, maybe you get more requests, and you need to be cautious that your company will not be outsmarted by negative people. It can be as well used for healthcare, so optimized healthcare management, so automation of routine tasks such as patient and equipment scheduling, so all the support activities that you can think of in a hospital. And analytics and AI can be used as well to minimize wasted healthcare resources, so to really use to make the best and the most of scarce resources. I will now shift to a few examples of companies or organizations using this environment. So this one is a company in Morocco. So it's a social welfare institution. It really as part of a larger digital transformation. The social welfare agency in Morocco wanted to use cloud technologies to improve process efficiency and relieve system latency. So the idea is to really leverage the ability to digitize work and to have a better way to handle processes and workflows. And they based this new environment on the IBM Cloud Pak for automation. Another one, so in Europe this time, extending automation capabilities. So running government agency, running millions of transactions. Well, when everything goes right, it's okay, but sometimes, and more than often, some issues appear. So when there is an issue, it needs to be analyzed by hand, by a person, and these cases are difficult to analyze. So they want to bring more automation to the parts of the process that were not really used, that was not really automated before. So in order to get better efficiency and even better efficiency to analyze the exceptions. Something interesting. So the solution is again based on Cloud Pak. This customer already used that, were using IBM software on premises. So it's interesting to mention that they were able to leverage a trade-up capability to leverage their existing licenses when migrating to the new environment. So that's a way to migrate easily from the existing FileNet, DataCap, ODM environments to the new Cloud Pak by leveraging the existing applications and by being able to install and prepare for the future. There is a big market for that environment. So the automation platform for digital business is something that is bringing a real value to companies that implement that. So some example here with ROI of 675% and the 6 months payback and a net present value of more than $20 million. So calculating the ROI of this kind of project is something very interesting because sometimes it is really a no-brainer. So you really, if you can really implement the automation you're thinking of, you can really demonstrate to the customer that it's something that is very valuable. as a summary, the environment of IBM Automation provides lots of lots of proven solutions. So from IBM and from its partners in many industries and in many countries. As for the various elements that compose this product, so the workflow, the content services, data capture, decisions, LPA, and services. The analyst rankings are very good, very favorable. So everyone is a leader or at least a strong performer in this environment. So we had pinpoint products in the past that were very good. We want to achieve their integration and provide a very strong capability end-to-end to do the workflow with content services after capturing the data, taking the right decisions, and with RPA, eventually, if you're still in the RPA, embed it from automation anywhere. So as I started to mention, the Cloud Pak for automation is one way to leverage the IBM Digital Automation Platform. And it means that you can use the Digital Automation Platform without Cloud Pak for automation, but you can, and it's interesting to know when it's meaningful to use it. So as a summary, we said that we are going to deal with capturing the information, doing the workflow, loading the content, doing decisions, and creating some tasks. But we are doing that on three elements. We are either still providing software on premises. So if you want to have digital business automation on premise, to have a FileNet environment on premise, you can do that. If you want to have point activities, or if you want to have the complete set of activities, but don't want to bother with installing software or using software wherever, you can have SaaS on the cloud. So there is a digital business automation on cloud environment where you can provision very quickly and use very easily all those capabilities. Or if you want to have an environment that is designed to be run on multi-clouds, so on IBM, on other provider, you can use the Cloud Pak for automation environment. So you have a set of capabilities from the on-premise traditional environment, from the cloud, multi-tenant public cloud, or this multi-cloud capability that is that enables you to leverage this environment, whatever the infrastructure, the cloud infrastructure you select. So the capabilities are, I would say, the same, but the idea is how you want to leverage those capabilities, and depending on that, you will choose one or the other of these environments. I just want to give a small highlight about this digital business automation on cloud. So with a single subscription, you will get the ability to access every product, and you will get as well the ability to, with the flexible flex point pricing, you will be able to use whatever product you need and whenever you need it. So you will not be stuck with, oh, I've bought some decision value points, for example, and I cannot spend them on workflows. No, it's you buy a global number of points and you can use them at your will on whatever is available in this environment. I will just give now a short presentation of the various capabilities. So they are, as you understand, very similar on each form factor.
Philippe, maybe before you do that, maybe we could take 2 questions which are in the chat room.
Okay.
So one question is, if customer is widely using the Windows operating system on their infrastructure,
yes,
Cloud Pak for automation be deployed?
The Windows environment, you mean as a server, on the server side?
He doesn't say what, but let's assume it is Windows in general.
Yeah. So see, that's why I put that slide on the screen. So if you have Windows servers, that means that you are currently using premises environment. Either you want to stay that way, and you can do it, or as you have noticed that everybody is moving to cloud, or at least to cloud technologies, you want to do something else. So if you want to move and use the cloud technologies, you will say either you will move either to DBA on cloud, so no more installations on premises, or to multi-cloud. And multi-cloud, it's you will have migration from Windows, of course, but it will be the same user interface that will be provided through different means to the end user.
Okay, and then there is another question from the same person. Okay, I'll just read the question. To be honest, I'm not sure what it is related to, but anyway, the question is, only with on-prem version of DBA, is that correct?
What?
Did you understand that?
Yeah, well, I had not understood, but I tried to make most of it. So if it means that if he's on with Windows servers, it's only the on-premises version of DBA that you can leverage the Windows server. That's for sure.
So let me unmute Alexei, who asked the question. Alexei, I will unmute you, and you please tell us whether your question was answered. You can speak, Alexei, if you want to add any questions to that. Okay. So, okay, Alexei, you can always add a question in the chat room then. Okay, good.
So the main message is the message is rather simple. There are three ways to use the digital business automation platform capabilities: on-premise, on public cloud, and on multi-cloud with Cloud Pak for data, for automation. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alexei is saying something is with his microphone. Alexei, then please write it down into the chat if you still have any questions left. He's saying okay. He'll write it in the chat room.
Okay. Okay, so if we come back to the components of the environment, we have seen that capture, content, workflow, decision, and tasks are available in Cloud Pak for automation. There is one thing that is not available in Cloud Pak for automation, that's modeling, which is an exclusive web operation. So the BlueWorks Live is something that you can use to design your workflow. So it's something very interesting that you can use independently of any other elements or as a complement to Cloud Pak for automation. So I will just show you quickly on my web browser what it looks like. So it's a very interesting tool that has several elements. So the first one is what is called the discovery map, where you add some steps. So here, to do some kind of submission of claims for an insurance, you get a submission step of submit claims and attach documents from the person who is submitting the claim, and reviewing the claim and notifying the customer of the decision based upon the officer of the company. So you can add notify can add another one, and can add, for example, request more document. And once you've got this discovery map of your activities, which are presented here, you can go to the process diagram. So automatically it will create a process diagram, and you will be able to modify, adapt it in order to fit your needs. And you will have as well the elements that are called swim lanes. So the various activities for the various participants to the workflow, which are here on the right: customer, claims officer, and here we can specify that it's let's say audit. So you can get really a very interesting environment with this BlueWorks Live in order to create, design, and then export your workflows to the Cloud Pak for Automation environment, for the workflow part of Cloud Pak for Automation. So I'll share again my PowerPoint. Do you see my PowerPoint, Atso?
We see it now, and we do have a few more questions if you want to take them now, or we can do it later.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so the question from Sergey is, what about the former process designer from BPM? Is it included in Cloud Pak for Automation?
I don't have an answer right away, so I will note the question.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Sergey, on that. And then there are a few entries from Alexei. Actually, I'm not sure whether there are questions or comments. I'll read them, okay? So one is, CP for Automation works on OCS. Let's say this is a question. Does it work on?
It runs on Red Hat OpenShift. So, yeah.
It runs on OpenShift, okay. And then another one, DBA on-prem works on Linux, Windows versions. I guess this is a question. Does it work on Linux and Windows? DBA on-prem.
Yes, some of the, well, it depends on the software, but it works on some of, depending on the particular software you're considering, it works on Linux or on Windows. So it's we'd have to dig into the specifics of the software you want to run on-prem. Okay. So what's interesting is that to run on OCS, on OpenShift, it's not the purpose of it. It's really because all the software is being or has been containerized. So the presentation, the form factor of the software of FileNet, of DataCap, or whatever, is going to be containers. And what Kubernetes and Red Hat OpenShift offer is a way to manage those containers. So the reason we have this environment can be read both ways. So because we have containers, we need a container platform to handle those containers. Or if we want to make software that is scalable and done according to the rules of today on cloud, we need to containerize everything. So it's a movement from both sides, but it started with containerization of the software in order to leverage the virtualization, leverage easier installation, easier scaling capabilities, etc. So it's not so much now that we are not going to say we are running on Windows or Linux, this or that version. We are running on this Kubernetes environment that is brought with the add-ons by OpenShift. Okay, just going on. So that's the BlueWorks Live I've just shown quickly. So the idea that you can have a collaborative business process discovery on the cloud. So you can share your information. You can have people collaborating on that. So you're not doing, so I will take the question for the business process designer, but BlueWorks Live is something very interesting. You have the business automation workflow on cloud where you can, of course, choreograph the various steps that are needed to make a process go. The decisions, which is based upon the product operational decision manager to allow you to design rules and to design sets of acceptance, for loans, for claims, for whatever, that you can modify, and we'll do that during the labs. And of course, there is a capture environment where you can get the information from various documents. And what is interesting and what is new, or rather new, I would say, in this environment is the automation content analyzer, so business automation content analyzer, which will allow you to create key value pairs in order, for example, from a document to identify an invoice number, to identify a customer name, to identify a phone number, etc. So you'll be able to leverage not only the document. So I've received the document, I put the document into a content store, and I tag it to get some information about what there is inside. But you can as well, really with the content analyzer, which is based upon AI and machine learning, be able to get information from that document, the invoice number, as I mentioned, the amount of the invoice, the limit date for payment, etc. So it's very interesting, very interesting way to start automation, because then you have got the document, that's for sure, but you have got some understanding already from the document, so you can really kickstart the processes because you have understood a certain number of the steps a certain number of the information that were contained in the document. And of course, the content to store the information. So comprehensive content management to deliver document management and content lifecycle capabilities in order to have all the elements that are needed for the handling the cases, for example, and archiving. It looks like this. So when you access the bpm.ibmcloud.com, so which is the place where you have the digital business automation platform on cloud, you get to the website, and this environment, you get core portal capabilities. So you get all the elements with the same kind of user interface in order to ease the use of this software. And as I mentioned before, the Cloud Pak, the business automation on cloud will allow you to benefit from flex points, so the ability to buy a certain number of capabilities and mix those capabilities depending on your will and depending on your needs. So if you are willing to start with the digital business automation platform, that could be an easy way to start because it's easy to buy, rapid to adapt. It offers a unified user experience and the comprehensive capabilities that you will find again in the environment of Cloud Pak for automation. That will certainly be very interesting when you start having a larger environment or when you start to wish to distribute your activities across multiple infrastructure, cloud infrastructures. So now we are going to present, I'm going to present the digital workers I've talked about this morning in Cloud Pak for automation. So it was introduced last year, so in 2018, and in 2019, it was made available into the product, and now it's getting better and better. It started from the following analysis. For example, a loan officer, Liza, what do they do during their day? So the work has been analyzed, so they input data, she inputs data from documents and forms, she meets with current clients, she tries to find new clients, she resolves issues and exceptions, she creates compliance and financial reports, she manages documents and loans approvals. Here, all the bubbles have the same size, but doesn't mean that they have the same value added, nor they take the same time for Liza to do. The idea is that in order to do some higher value work, so finding new clients, meet physically or by phone with current clients, resolve issues and exception, you have to do lower value work. So it's not because it's lower value that it's not going to be neglected or to not necessary, but it's still something pretty simple that could be done eventually automatically. So like inputting data from documents and forms, manages documents, creating compliance reports and financial reports. So the dilemma of the workers, of the uh, white collar worker, is that in order to achieve this, what is presented as higher value work that cannot be automated, he has to do some work which could be automated. And so if we present a situation like this, we see on the left-hand side the various activities and how much time Liza is able uh, to spend on each of them. So what we see is that she spends very few of her time to find new clients. It's considered as a high value work, but she can't spend time on this high value work because of all the other elements, like meet with current clients. The automation potential is mentioned at the bottom. So on the left-hand side, there is a high automation potential, and on the left-hand side, high automation potential, and on the right-hand side, the low automation potential. So manage documents, input data, create compliance, resolve issues and exceptions, seems to spend a lot of time doing this. So if we can introduce some assistance in order to assist Liza doing the jobs on the left-hand side, she can deliver more. She can spare time to, and then she can spend that spare time on the higher value activities. So, for example, if she can reduce the amount of time spent on inputting data, on creating reports, on resolving issues and exceptions, on managing documents and loan approvals. So let's say that she can achieve 85% of loans managed and approved automatically. She may be, for example, be able to spend much more time to meet with current clients and to find new clients. So that's the idea behind the digital worker. Find ways to help officers, loan officers, for example, like Liza, to really save time on the tedious administrative tasks and spend more time on the more high value work. It's something that we've seen in the reports of analysts. So in Gartner, for example, hyperautomation is something that is seen as trending. So RPA and IBPMS are components of hyperautomation, and hyperautomation deals with the application of advanced technologies, including AI and machine learning, to increasingly automate processes and augment humans. It's important to say that it's to augment humans, not to replace them. It will replace the human in some tasks, but if we compare this activity to a complete automated system, it's really a partnership, or at least an exchange of information between a digital worker and a human person. So we've seen that. So we are offering tools that can go towards the hyper automation environment, and we see here this diagram, this picture showing a collaboration between a human and a robot. Within Cloud Pak for automation, the ability that we are going to tackle is this one, digital workers. So it will leverage all the fundamental of Cloud Pak for automation, the pre-integrated automation capabilities, and it will provide the new way to automate some of the work of the loan officers, claim officers, etc. So the main concept is to start by analyzing what the people are doing. So as we have seen for Liza, she has a certain number of tasks to do, and she has to divide time between all those tasks. So the idea is to define job roles, and this by defining job roles, we'll be able to find the place where a digital worker can play. So we'll define the role, the job role of the digital worker. So the digital worker is a new member of the team that shares job roles with the employees, collaborates with workflows and applications, interacts with employees, so provide like an assistant, provide information back within the workflow, reports actions, and very important as well for the acceptance of such an assistant, it is scoped with guardrails. So like a new hire within the company is able to do to handle the smaller contracts, small contracts, and then the medium contracts, and after that the big contracts. The digital worker will start working with some limits, and then once everything is okay, once everyone sees the digital worker is working okay, those limits can be upgraded, modified. In the lab, for example, we see that we can start with allowing the digital worker to do some acceptance after, at a certain level of loan requirement, and then move that requirements higher. AI-powered skills will be used to automate more use cases and business controls, that's the guardrails, to give business users level of control and transparency over the automation that is going to play with them. So the job role, and we see that in the lab, the job role is the description of all the activities. So here it's a bit small, but here you will see that in the job activities, job description, there are a certain number of activities, for example, collect and prepare all the documentation for the loan package. Here it's said to be manual. Research applicant credit status and current financial position, it can be augmented, which is a mix between automated and manual. Here we have other activities where the idea is to put them into automation mode. So create repayment plans, manual to automated, or complete loan contracts and ensure clients are kept informed of the rules and requirements. It is already automated. So the idea of division of labor, which is common in this environment of workflows, align human and digital workers by job role and job activities in particular, and classify work as automated, augmented, or human-driven or manual. The model, there are models for job roles, so you don't need to invent or to make lengthy studies about that. So there are catalogs with more than 1,000 descriptions for jobs, so you can leverage these descriptions as you will. And it can help prioritize where digital workers are deployed. So we are not willing to move everything from manual to automated immediately. We can go step by step and introduce automation per job activity. The classical job roles supported are clerks, accounts receivable desk, experts, customer support specialists, or managers, for example, a sales manager. What does it mean to use AI-powered skills? So AI-powered skills means that you're able, within this environment, to do things that were previously not automatable. So it is about understanding documents. So it will be able to extract content from the document. It will be about classifying the document in a specific category. It will be able to understand the intents behind some sentences, the tone analysis, so being able to understand whether the customer is happy or not happy. If needed, we can do some language translation. And before that, of course, language identification and even visual recognition. We mentioned that earlier in analyzing claims for insurance with the roof that had been damaged by the hurricane. So the AI-powered skills will be using this understand capability. We'll be able to act So having those capabilities, they will be able to act like read an email, send an email, do some Excel actions, act through workflow, run a robotic process automation bot. And after that, they will be able to decide. So, and to decide, they will leverage the rule-based decisions and the machine learning-based predictions that are embedded in Cloud Pak for automation. So 3 elements: understand, act, and design, based upon AI skills that will enable digital workers to act like humans. Of course, you cannot give the keys of the truck to the first person that you meet. So you need to have some guardrails. So guardrails are parameters such as confidence levels for digital workers to operate autonomously without human intervention. So to be sure that the AI you have used has really understood the level, the elements you wanted to extract from the documents, for example. And you should as well define thresholds. So when there is uncertainty, thresholds at which a human operator should intervene. So putting back an operator in the loop. It means that you will be able to manage and monitor your digital workers, and manage and monitor your digital workers will allow you to see whether they are used or not, whether or not they are efficient, etc. So you get alerts, dashboards, insights on your digital workforce in order to see what is running well, what is not running well, and what you need to modify in order to satisfy the business you are in. So here it's an account it's a demonstration. So it's an account payable process orchestrated workflow. So, okay, so the concept is that you identify human tasks with high automation potential. So here there is the workflow. So you see, enter the purchase order. If the purchase order exists, well, you can go to enter invoice and match invoice. If it doesn't exist in the system, you need to enter it. If once you've done that, you can fetch matching issues if there are some between the purchase order and the invoice. You can determine in the yellow rectangle the approval requirements, fix issues, send payment, approve payment. So it's generally something that is done at a human level, and we can think of creating a human digital worker to automate the steps that are in red, for example, enter invoice and match invoice. Deploy, monitor, and adapt guardrails, identify other opportunity for this job role. So the video, blue demo environment, etc. So the opportunities to demonstrate themselves. So business automation content analyzer is the feature within Cloud Pak for data, which will understand and the key value pair. So the invoice and invoice number, the invoice amount and $2,000, etc. Business automation insights is the place within Cloud Pak for automation that gets the dashboards about the activity. Decisions we understand, workflow and Watson is here for the tone analyzer, for being able to have the sentiment of the user, etc., and the analysis of the images, for example. Digital workers can be used to do some upselling regarding the functions of Cloud Pak for automation. So the idea is to add more automation to workflow clients. So you can add more automation to your existing workflows with automation digital workers. So to your workflow team, so one of the swim lanes could be an automated digital worker. Digital worker can claim and complete human tasks alongside knowledge workers based upon the AI capabilities that we now have and that we have embedded within the tool. And you control the digital worker with guardrails. No workflow changes are required, of course. Digital workers and knowledge workers can collaborate. It's an issue about it's the capability to have some elements within the swim lane to be done by digital workers. What kind of questions do we ask to see whether customers are interested in this environment? Do you have human tasks in your workflows that could be automated? So if we find and we think that the new capabilities like being able to read an email, to extract information from the email, to categorize the email, etc., that are now and only done by humans can be done by someone else, by something else, a digital worker. Yes, there are tasks that in your workflows that can be attributed to digital workers. You have a way to manage and control your hybrid workforce. So as you don't have the hybrid workforce today, certainly not, but you have a way to manage, you need a way to do that. And Business Automation Workflow Portal and Automation Insights gives you the tools to monitor the team performance. And in the team, we include the digital workers. So it's not an automated process alone. It's really like a business person that is included into this environment. And to do that, of course, a digital worker will send events to BAI, Business Automation Insights. Can AI help your people get their work done more efficiently? Yes. Digital workers, human persons, the human operators, decision, machine learning, Watson, and other intelligence skills embedded into their capabilities. So for all customers, embedding digital workers within the platform help them use more of the platform capabilities, and they can think of trading up to Cloud Pak for automation where digital workers appear. Digital workers are one of the benefits of this new capability of integrating the nice components of the digital business automation. So we had nice components in isolation. We want to leverage them by creating as much as synchronicity, as much complementary skills between all those elements. So combine content analyzer and decisions, understand and decide. You see, we had the three capabilities of the worker: understand, decide, and act. Understand, decide can be improved by combining content analyzer, business automation content analyzer, and decisions. So you understand the amount of the invoice, so you can pay it or not, depending on the limits that you've given to the worker. And you can orchestrate, of course, human and digital workers with workflows and work streams, and monitor the hybrid workforce with business automation insights. One of the points that will be of interest is that all these capabilities are integrated in a new tool within the Cloud Pak for automation, which is the Studio. So there were different products, so those products are different tools, and the new message for Cloud Pak for automation is to integrate as much as possible those tooling to make the tooling a tooling that has the same user interface and is able to program or to customize all the tools of the environment. Business Automation Studio is a very important point. When are those capabilities of digital workers necessary? Again, are your employees spending too much time collecting data, reading and understanding documents, and making repetitive decisions? So, as we saw for Liza, the loan officer, even if their role is as some sales component, very often the tedious tasks of administration are filling up the time of the loan officer, and there is no much time available for the higher value work. Of course, this environment is new, so there is a methodology to make those digital workers acceptable to their human companions. So there is a methodology within IBM and within the tool to assist the planning of migrating from a human workforce to a hybrid workforce. So if people are anxious about how to manage and control, so I mentioned already guardrails, and the business users enabled control scope and manage confidence levels of automated activities. So really, the business users are empowered to really manage their assistant, their worker's assistant. How does the tooling look like? So we'll see that in the lab, but what's important now to mention is that within this environment, and it's named skill catalog. In other tools, it will be made a template. So the idea is that you have got some predefined bricks that you can leverage either by customization or you can develop new ones. But the skills of your digital workers the skills your digital workers can use are well known. So it's, for example, reading an email, sending an email, doing this, doing that. So there is a complete catalog of pre-programmed activities that you can embed into the digital workers. And here you see the three elements: skill catalog, digital worker tasks. So you've got the job roles and the job activities, and you set to give some of them to the digital workers, and of course, the management of the performance. And here, after the skill catalog, digital worker task and performance, you've got the digital workforce, or in fact, the various automates that you have created. So learn advisor, another learn advisor, and the third learn advisor. I mentioned the skill catalog. So the skill catalog is divided into three types, three categories. So the first one is understand, then decide and act. And you have templates. And here you see it's a bit like in the IBM Cloud for the services. You've got here text classification, you've got here content extraction, language identification, image classification, tone detection, etc. So, and here it's a I would say private skill for the company GK. So it's something that is very interesting that you can reuse again and again based on the capacities of you want to put in place for your first digital workers. In the second category, so we are now using skills to decide. So to decide, it means to enforce rules, and those rules are, for example, here decision rules, the decision service, decision rule and Patrick Ho. So different ways to take a decision based upon the values that have been extracted, that have been understood, and based upon the rules that have been embedded into those decision rules. So let's go now. So we have seen the skill catalog. We have seen the various elements that you can find into understand and decide. Now let's see the tasks. So here we have got a few tasks that compose the digital worker. So here, match invoices with orders, enter invoices, invoice verification. Once the digital worker, when the task is prepared, while it's prepared, it's in draft. Once it's ready to be deployed and then deployed, it is deployed. And there are some elements of performance saying whether the last run was successful or was not successful, and as well the digital worker that is owning that task. So for the task match invoice with orders, the last one was successful. We see that in the last 16 runs, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 in a few months, the success rate was 62%. So there were some most of them were successful, but some of them failed. So we need to understand why and take appropriate measures to bypass those problems. And finally, if you go to the performance environment, we'll see a certain number of elements based upon other metrics. So we'll see the digital number of runs per digital worker. So is a digital worker working hard? We'll see the number of digital workers and the tasks with runs. What is the run status of the digital workers? What is the run count, etc. So we have a certain number of metrics that would enable the efficiency of the digital worker. And eventually, if the digital worker doesn't run, it's like any position that is useless, you can delete the digital worker. So now we are going to move to inspecting a digital worker and auditing, in fact, what it has done. So it's again in the banking environment, the Acme Bank Loan Advisor. We see that some activities are manual, so they are not done by the digital worker. So we are at the job description level and the division between the job activities into job role into job activities with their automation level, and the task state, so created or to be created. So this one is automated. Get loan applications from email and check risks. So that will be the tick that we'll find in the environment. So here there is a lightning sign, and this will be, so we had before other icons there. This is the way to access the panel, to access the tab where you look for status and information. So you click on here to this information here at job role level. Here you click on the lightning, and with the lightning you get more information about red loan emails and check risks, deployed, success, and success rate over the, let's say, for here, the last 25 runs. If you need to modify a task, you will go to the skills in the task. So skill that extract data from loan application, process loan application, read loan application, email loan application summary. So these are the skills within the task. You will have the skill categories, understand, decide, and act. So that's elements. You can insert skills from the catalog. And here you've got instructions, schemas, and guardrails. The guardrails will be to limit the capabilities of the digital worker, to limit in scope and to validate that everything is okay with small limits. And instructions will be a place where you program, you can do additional programming to make the capabilities more comprehensive. We are working in an environment which is API based, so you need to configure the environment like if you were in the cloud, so with a URL and an AP key, and you can configure, for example, here the business automation content analyzer in order to create the right keys, the key value pairs. So here, if you've clicked on guardrails, you can see that, for example, here, name loan automatically processed number when the default value is 60,000. So up to that, you process automatically the loan. Loan required a special process up to this one. And you can edit the guardrail parameters. Technically, when you're ready to deploy the environment, you do this by clicking on the bottom. So there is a deploy button that allows you to deploy your digital worker. I mentioned that instructions were the place where you could add additional programming to enhance and enlarge the capabilities of the digital worker. So this is not to be done, of course, by a business user. It has to be done by a programmer, but it is something that can be used again and again repetitively like a template. So here, JavaScript to code the instructions, the variable skills for the guardrail, amount auto-processed and amount with attention required. Execute the ODM skill, so that's the decision. The skill is something that we had in the skill catalog, but so we have chosen this skill, and now we need to execute it. Test loan amount with guardrail values. So another element, we have put guardrail, so we need to test these elements. And again, the deploy is at the very bottom of the page. How do you run a task? Something I didn't mention is that you can run a test. You can have a test run of the task in order to see whether everything is okay. So you test the task and you get the information whether it runs okay or it doesn't run okay. So the task read loan emails and check risk, and the skills are there, and you test the task to see whether everything is correct. When you want to monitor the task, so you go here. So you see here there is a new icon as well here. So with the new icon, you read loan emails and check risk, you monitor successful, last 20 runs, etc. And you can open the performance dashboard at the bottom, test and deploy and activate. And deploy is important because if you have, after your test, you see that something is going wrong, you will need first to undeploy the task, modifying and redeploy it. So you cannot modify the task without undeploying it. And finally, you will activate it. Again, guardrails. So loan automatically processed the value, and you can change guardrail values at runtime. So if you don't need to deactivate the task or the digital worker to modify the values, it's something that can be done while the system is running. You can as well have the capability to schedule tasks. So for example, if you want to add some kind of schedule to send emails or to do a specific task, you can do that. And you can use the 3 buttons here to create the scheduling. So here, read loan emails and check risk. We can do that every day at 12 o'clock, etc. A brief peek at architecture extension points. So I mentioned that the environment of Cloud Pak running on Red Hat OpenShift and Kubernetes is based upon containers. So a digital worker contains several containers. So with digital workers being run separately. There is a connection to the job role. So, and the job role consists of various activities. So one digital worker can have a part of the activities within the job role. And the tasks within the digital worker, task 1, task 2, are augmented or automated within an executable component that contains the business logic. So this environment runs into a container. So an element term that is was to known within the Kubernetes environment is pod. So pod is the place where things happen. So it's not administration, it's really a place where the applications are running. So here we see the digital worker designer pod. We see the digital worker management pod. We see the digital worker runtime pod and some ancillary containers with the DBs and the NPM repositories for the skill NPM modules. We see as well BA Studio, which is a tool that is used to design most things in Cloud Pak for automation. The tool digital workers comes with a few skills available. Is it worth developing and importing new skills? Sure. Because for clients, it will help surface your solutions that could be embedded into other elements. For partners, same thing with the core services they provide, so they can have skills that can be used easily in this environment. And other developers can connect this environment to their products or to our products through new skills. And the skill is a Node.js module containing a certain number of technical components, so package, metadata, markdown documentation, runtime function, etc. So a skill is packaged with npm pack. Okay. And the skill starter kit is the creation of a new skill. So if you want to add new skills, there is a starter kit that can help you develop the new environment. Exercise the skill and test the skill configuration outside of the tool. Develop text the skill here. And then you package and deploy the skill once you have finished with the development. And when the skill is packaged, it can be imported into the skill catalog. So just a short story about sample usage of this environment. So here we are going to help an assistant department administrator in a hospital. So someone who is not a doctor, lots of administrative work to do. We are 4 assistant department administrators where I'm working, and I'm personally in charge of an hospital department with 80 people. As we've done with Liza, we define the work that this person is doing. So he's scheduling resources to maximize access to hospitals within budget and union rules, so staff schedules, opening master doctor schedules and master doctor grids, so matching the requests from patients and the availability from doctors. Keep staff up to date and compliant with their training regarding healthcare, monitoring and managing licenses and certifications for people, annual training and compliance, so keeping the staff and the hardware and software compliant with regulations. And as well, maximize access to hospital, proactive health care for members, stay in budget and within safety rules. So satisfying access metrics, enabling proactive office encounter, satisfying budget metrics seems to be a very important one, managing medical waste. So today, what is my work about? My work is doing this, satisfying budget metrics, access metrics, proactive office encounter, scheduling, the waste, the staff schedules, and big element here, who is absent today, who can I call out for replacement with skills and compliant with union rules, checking emails from HR, sending emails to each staff member to request training, license renewal, CPR training, etc., sending reminders, reporting status in the systems. So sometimes each task has a different criticality and LOE. Sometimes they are repetitive, so that's the compliance here. Require quality human interaction with the encounters. Sometimes require deep knowledge, call out and schedules. Sometimes have an important business impact, proactive office encounter. That's how I would like to get help from a digital worker. in the activities where that's repetitive and time-consuming, that can be automated with an eye on reports. So the training, analyzing the training of people, monitoring and managing licenses, annual training and compliance. So that's repetitive work that can be automated. I would benefit from artificial intelligence in the scheduling and the waste management. And other activities, I'm essential and self-sufficient. I don't need a digital worker to help me with the three bullets that are mentioned here. So the idea is to divide the tasks between what can be obviously automated, where it could be augmented by artificial intelligence, and where I don't need artificial intelligence because it's really a human task. In the part where we have repetitive tasks, repetitive activities, so it's about receiving emails from HR every day. The emails contain spreadsheets with lists of task members deemed to perform actions to remain compliant and up to date with regulations and safety. So the information is there. There should be warned that they need to do something. So today I send them individual emails with actions to take. I follow up from actions required in the past and send reminders when appropriate. I keep track of actions and fill out some application forms in KP systems. And okay, I do that, but I could eventually get a digital worker to do that for me. So in the other second bullet, where I would appreciate help, but it's not completely necessary. So that's the analyzing the staff schedules, MD schedules, and the medical waste management. I'm checking emails to know who is missing today because we need a replacement to honor appointments and manage our facilities. I need to call a replacement ASAP with the right skills, etc. So lots of constraints. So I might need assistance in order to avoid paying fees in case of an error. Hello, welcome back to the IBM Digital Automation Platform Cloud Pak for Automation overview. So for 15-20 minutes, I'm going to tackle the presentation of the Business Studio, the Business Automation Studio, and the Application Designer. Okay, so via the lab, you have been familiarized with the URL, with the user interface. So the user interface of Cloud Pak for application is very similar for all the components of Cloud Pak for automation. And you see that in this environment, you've got a studio that will deal with applications, with digital workers, and that was the topic of lab number 2, workflow services, content services, decision services. So the studio is designed to be the single place where people will go to offer business services, application, and digital workers. It doesn't mean that it will be the same persons, but at least the environment will be unique for all the components. The design points of the studio are the following. First, give business owners and subject matter experts a direct role in digitizing their business. So the idea behind that is that if we want automation to be successful, it has to be meaningful to the people who will use it. So give more role, more importance to people who understand the business and the subject matter experts in order for them to collaborate more efficiently and more accurately with the digitization of their business. Another key point is the consistent lifecycle and governance of the various artifacts that will be built in this environment. You have seen that through skills or through template, there is a heavy effort to promote and discover reusable assets. And finally, there is some emphasis on collaboration mechanisms to help facilitate communications among authors. So promote and discover reusable assets would not work if there were not any communication. Even the communication among authors was weak. So the business application designer is the first integrated designer. So for apps, templates, and toolkits. So how does it work? It's a single experience for users to build apps. So create a new app, open in Designer. And this business automation studio is geared toward all the components of Cloud Pak for automation. So the tasks, computerized human tasks, content, lifecycle management, workflow, processes and cases, content analyzer, data extraction from document, decisions, and third party. So the idea is that this environment will be the focal point for all development activities. There is another element of interest in this environment. It's the ability to design low-code applications. So it has been very frequent in the past to say that for doing this, you don't need to be a programmer. And in the end, you still need to be a programmer. So the idea is to say that it will be low-code application. So it will be made easier than having to write everything from scratch, but it's still an environment where good programmers will be appreciated, and to create business apps that leverage the capabilities of the platform. When you want to make low-code apps, in fact, there is no secret. You need to be able to provide pre-defined or pre-built elements, and these will be here under the name of toolkits and templates. So these are the elements that will be provided and that will be used by the people developing the applications, but in a sense more easily than having to write code from scratch. So instead of developing application, the term that will be used will be to assemble application, assemble from various pieces that already exist. It will be different from the digital worker we've seen just before, in the sense that the digital worker is part of the workflow where the human is prevailing, and so the digital worker is doing some tasks within the workflow, whereas here we are building real applications, so end-to-end applications with users filling in forms, etc. So it's a different approach to automation, complementary but different. Toolkits will enable reusable complex functions. So toolkits will be created by developers. Platform out-of-the-box toolkits provide access to platform services and UI views for building applications, content, document, viewer, search. So that was one of the elements that was very important in the FileNet workflow environment. So it was how to create the UI. So the idea here is to provide some building blocks that you can assemble in order to create an application more easily. There will be 4 toolkits available. So one for the UI. So the UI toolkit contains a set of views for designing applications that can run on multiple device types, such mobile and desktop devices. So run anywhere, but for the user, from the user point of view. And toolkits to activate the 3 main pillars of the environment, so workflow services, content services, and decision services. So the workflow services toolkit will provide a low-level invoke action, example start process, and will provide a custom action configurator. The action configurator is used to expose workflow services that can be called by an application. Example, open mortgage account. So workflow services toolkit, one part of the toolkit of this business automation studio. The content services toolkit, I don't know the current status on the latest version, but in end of 2019, it was text preview. So includes content list view widget with browse, search, and menu actions, property view to add, edit, view document metadata, viewer to view, annotate, redact, etc. document. So most of the capabilities that are needed to manage and to govern content will be available in this Content Services Toolkit. And finally, the Decision Services Toolkit, which has been available since this year, focus on low-level actions, again called rule. It's very detailed and will provide a custom action configurator and provides now a custom action configurator. The action configurator is used to expose rule services that can be called by an application. Example, calculate discount rate. So we have got toolkits, and these toolkits will be complemented by templates. So these templates, of course, will use the toolkit and will provide the ability to create easily some applications. So templates help jumpstart building of new app, and developers use the app designer to create application template project that reference toolkits. So that's the link between the toolkits and the templates. So we see here, so it's very small, but nevertheless, we can see here that in the Cloud Pak for Automation Studio, we have the home, we have the applications, templates and toolkits, the decision workspaces, the digital worker workspaces where we were before, and another piece of information for the contributors. It is very important to understand how the application is moving, how it's building up. So from version to version. So here we see version 1, we see version 2, we see current version, etc. So the idea is to be able to have the ability to understand which version is running and to have the right procedures to authorize new versions to replace or to supersede existing ones. So projects and snapshots. So snapshot being a version in time, so a copy of the current, at the time, a current version of the project, and this copy is put into production. Authorization and project collaboration, so who's going to access and who's going to be able to modify anything. And mechanisms to help facilitate communication among authors. So they will be even more useful when people are working remotely as now, with project discussion threads or notification of project updates. Another element of interest is the automation navigator. So the automation navigator will contain desktop connection, viewer maps, plugins, menus, themes, settings, etc. Role-based desktop administration. So it will provide the ability to navigate the resources. The application run in a unified runtime user experience. You customize user experience by users, teams, and departments. So as you have seen this morning in the roles that were used for the mortgage, the loan application, you will see that you can have different authorizations within the application based upon the role that is defined for you. So we have a kind of synthesis of the application development from authoring to runtime. The Business Automation Studio is the tool that encompasses everything, and it contains the application designer for low-code applications, which are then put into the runtime of Automation Navigator. Use cases. So use cases for this environment. It's rapid build of new types of business applications, go beyond process and procedures apps, simplify development for app creators, build more apps in less time, accelerate innovation and iterations. So the new easy application that can be built, to-do list, dispatch field services, onboarding, preventive maintenance, customer satisfaction, document renewal and updating, differentiated service promotions, invoicing, travel requests, hiring and recruitment, procurement approval. So these are the small applications of day-to-day activity that sometimes are very needed in a very quick, in very short time, and that you can build with this kind of tool.